What's going on YouTube? It is Repulse back in another video. In today's video we have a Chelsea news video recapping the last 3 days. Obviously I was doing more match preview review stuff rather than news videos, but the news videos are back. There wasn't that much the last 2 days, but now everything has added up into a major video, and there's some major breaking news today that, this is one of the biggest news videos I think we've had on this channel besides the 2 here we goes or 3 here we goes for Delap, Gittins, and João Pedro. This is a massive news video day. So yeah, stay tuned, watch the entire video because there is a lot that goes on, a lot that I want to cover. So let's just begin with, obviously, the man of the hour, Nani Madueke. This is on July 7th, so this is 2 days ago, but sources have told me that Chelsea and Arsenal are discussing a figure around the £40 million mark for Madueke. However, there was an exclusive today by David Ornstein that said Arsenal make contact with Chelsea over move for Madueke. Clubs now in talks after the 23-year-old Chelsea winger agreed personal terms on the proposed 5-year contract that goes until 2030. No deal yet, but the England international prioritizing Arsenal above any other interested sides. Followed by Fabrizio saying that Arsenal and Chelsea are in direct talks for Nani Madueke as reported. In the tweet below was this tweet that Arsenal will have direct talks with Chelsea soon to discuss Nani Madueke deal. There is a gap in valuation between the clubs, but negotiations will now follow to understand if/how to proceed. Nani Madueke has agreed a 5-year contract with Arsenal as revealed. And then Ben Jacobs said the prices for both clubs that Arsenal have now opened formal talks, as David Ornstein called. Madueke agreed terms on a 5-year deal, and this is the interesting bit. Chelsea want a £55 million plus package, citing Anthony Elanga's Newcastle move. Chelsea sources are very clear. Madueke fee with add-ons must start with the 5. Understand Arsenal will try for £40 to £45 million. There's a gulf in valuation, but the clubs have a stronger relationship. No bid as of this morning, as the clubs are discussing numbers. However, as we get to, I think, 10 minutes ago maybe, there was this exclusive from Fabrizio that Arsenal has submitted an initial bid for Nani Madueke around £50 million package, add-ons included. Chelsea want more than £50 million fixed. As Alanga/similar deals remain in their reference. Good relationship between clubs as talks continue. Madueke agreed terms with Arsenal. Yeah, that's a major breaking. Arsenal finally bid for Madueke. Y'all know what I think of the player. Y'all probably saw the match review yesterday. I was not a fan of the way he played yesterday. He just looked like a headless chicken. His head was not in the game. He was pretty much just there to be there, get the cardio working, basically. Yeah, did not do much to contribute to anything. It seems like he just wants to leave at this point. His head's not at Chelsea anymore. It's at a different club, which is totally fair. Respect to him. Was a servant at this club for multiple years, helped us get top 4, even if he wasn't that good the second half of the season. He was great in the first half. So, yeah, definitely contributed a great amount. So, thank you for your service, Madueke, but I think it is time for him to move. Y'all already know how I feel about this. If you watch any of my news videos on Madueke, especially when it first broke, you know how I feel. You know that I don't want him at this club. I think we have a lot better options, and I think we are moving in a better direction. So, yeah, Arsenal submit a £50 fee. Chelsea want more. Chelsea reject this, but that is such a good baseline that I think we can get the £55 million that we're asking for, and that's just a great bit of business from Chelsea. Yeah, just a fantastic bit of business. Think the negotiations in terms of the outgoings have been great this summer transfer window. I think they will be great. I guess there's not really been many outgoings besides Kepa's release clause, but yeah, £50 million package as the first bid. You can easily get that to 55 and just get the deal across the board. Especially, you could do 50 plus 5, and I think everyone would be happy with that. I said 45 plus 5 would be fine. I would have been fine with this 50 million package being accepted, but Chelsea hardball. Chelsea want the 5 million more, I think, at the very least, because the Elanga deal was 55 million as reported. So yeah, that's that on Madueke. The 50 million package was submitted, but we turn it down. We ask for more, and I think it's good that we're being firm in our negotiation tactics. And I think at the end of the day, if we come back to this 50 million pound package, it wouldn't be the end of the world. And I think all Chelsea fans would be content getting 50 million for a player that we spent 27 on, 30 on, something like that. But been here for a couple years, so we get a lot more profit in the books than just the 30 or 20 million. It's more like 35, 40 in the books, just because the value obviously depreciates as he's been at the club for so long. So yeah, a lot of money coming into the bank, especially from Madueke, especially if we get it up to 55 or 60 even. But yeah, that's that on Madueke. Um, Moving on to George Petrovic, there was another exclusive today. Um, Bournemouth has submitted an opening official bid to Chelsea for George Petrovic. Negotiations ongoing between clubs as players keen on the move to Bournemouth. Nothing was done slash close with Sunderland last week as Bournemouth are now hopeful of getting a deal done. Um, and then Ben Jacobs says this: Bournemouth are now in advanced talks with Chelsea over George Petrovic. Chelsea seeking 30 million euros as there's a pact with Petrovic allowing him to leave for this number. Clubs yet to agree a fee. However, Petrovic is open to Bournemouth. Again, I do think Petrovic was mistreated at this club. I think he definitely could have been our number one goalkeeper, and I think everyone would have rationalized with that. But there's a pact for 25 million pounds. I think Chelsea are just going to stick firm there. Hey, pay the 25 million, or someone else will, and that's pretty much that. I think Bournemouth can definitely pay that number. I think it's a cheap fee for Petrovic. Obviously, one of the best goalkeepers in Liga last season. Um, as also Lyon were able to stay in Liga, so I don't know what that means for Palace in terms of European football. I don't know if Forest get the Europa League spot and then Palace get the Conference League. I don't know how that works, but we'll see. But yeah, Bournemouth are now in advanced talks. But I think we just stay firm to the 25 million pound pact that we have with Petrovic, and not go below that, which I think is completely fair. And that's a massive profit on the books. Excuse me, I can't speak. So that's two players that might reel in 80 million pounds in total. 25 for Petrovic, 55 for Madueke. And it's interesting to see how that will look on the books because obviously we need a net of 65 million euro lost, or 65 million euros loss in this next year to comply with the FIFA regulations, which I think we will be fine with because of um, the Club World Cup, which we'll talk about how much money we've made. Obviously, the Champions League is going to give us a ton of money, and then these outgoings we have are also going to give us a ton of money. As we already know, 80 million from two players is great business. So yeah, that's Petrovic pretty much off to Bournemouth. Um, Moving on to Leslie Ugochukwu, this is a couple days ago. Chelsea and Valencia are close to agreeing a season-long loan for Leslie Ugochukwu, and then uh, Fabrizio says Valencia and more clubs are interested, but Chelsea say no to a loan move. The priority is to sell. I do think Ugochukwu was done a little bit wrong by the club. I think he definitely is a tidy player. I think he's a great player. We've seen him in preseason. We've seen him in a couple games, and we saw him on loan at Southampton. Obviously not great. He got relegated, but you know I don't think he's a bad player by any means. I think he was a little mistreated here. I won't be shy to say that. I think he definitely was mistreated at Chelsea, but at the same time, that midfield with Caicedo, Enzo, Lavia, Santos, who else? Asugo is stacked. There's not really a spot for him here. Even Kieran Dewsbury Hall got pushed out to the right wing. Um, so yeah, I mean, I do think we should sell, but I do think he was mistreated at this club. But any money we make on him, I think is good money. So yeah, happy to see him on the market, and hopefully we get a profit on the books for him. I think we paid around 17 million for him, so I expect someone to bid around 20 or 15, and I think we do sell. Not the best bit of business from Chelsea, but any cash will help. Um, so yeah, that's Leslie Ugochukwu pretty much off to maybe a club in Spain, but there's a ton of clubs keen, so maybe he sees himself at a Sunderland or something like that at the bottom end of the Premier League like he did last season, but just on a permanent deal this time. Moving on to the Club World Cup money that I was talking about. We made around 25 million pounds to enter. Won two group stage games, which equates to 3 million pounds. 6 million in the round of 16, 10 in the quarterfinal, 16 in the semifinal, and then to make the final, we got 23. So we've made 83.3 million so far, which is such an incredible sum of money. If we win the final, I think we get another 18 million, something like that. So it definitely equates to 100 million in this tournament for Chelsea to win, which is a boatload of money. And we figure out who we play later today, as Real Madrid and PSG are playing. Um, and I'll definitely do a match review of that. That might be my second video of the day that's up, is the match review between Real Madrid and PSG. Just because I think it's an intriguing fixture. I think it's something that, definitely dictates what Chelsea are going to do this weekend. Obviously, you're game playing for two different teams. So yeah, I'll definitely do a match review on that, which will be up later today. Obviously, the game is at 2, I believe. So it'll be up around, like 4:30, 5 p.m. After that game is done. But yeah, Chelsea make 83.3 million from the Club World Cup, which is basically what we're getting for Madueke and Petrovic. And we can get over 100 million if we end up winning the final, which I think we do have a chance of doing. Moving on to Mohamed Kudus. This also broke a couple minutes ago. Tottenham Hotspur reached a total agreement with West Ham to sign Mohamed Kudus, deal for the 24-year-old, worth in region of £55 million. Medical scheduled on Thursday ahead of Ghana International joining Tottenham on a 6-year contract. Yeah, I just put this in here because obviously he was a Chelsea target. He was someone that I spoke of and I wanted to bring in. Obviously, we didn't bring him in. He's off to Tottenham. He gave priority to Tottenham, so fair enough. I think he'll do a good job there, especially for Thomas Frank in his system. I think he could be an emblemo type of guy that carries the ball on those transitions. But yeah, Mohamed Kudus is off to Tottenham. I'm not going to speak about it too much. Obviously, it's not Chelsea related, but the only reason it is in here is because he was a Chelsea target, I believe. I think we didn't really go in for him as much as we thought we would, but he definitely was a target. But he is off to Tottenham now for £55 million. So who's next? Who's our next target? Simon Johnson said that Chelsea are big admirers of Aston Villa's Morgan Rogers. And then that was backed up by The Athletic, who said Chelsea have a very strong interest in Morgan Rogers, while also keeping tabs on Alejandro Garnacho, a player they've been monitoring since January. Additionally, the club has inquired about Malik Fofana. Get that second name out of there. I like Malik Fofana, but I love Morgan Rogers. I think he's one of my favorite players that isn't at Chelsea in the Premier League. The way that he's able to carry the ball, I think if we have him, Cole Palmer, and then a Delap Pedro ahead, Cole Palmer on the right, Rogers on the left, two strikers, Fernandez obviously pushing up a little bit, Caicedo to destroy, and then Cucurella and Reece James. Reece James providing that second DM, and then Cucurella doing whatever he wants. I mean, that lineup's absurd. The way that we can carry the ball with Palmer and Rogers, and then we have Enzo to just spray out those passes. Um, yeah, I love the dude. He's one of my favorite players in the Premier League. I'll say that for time. I think if that price is £80 million, I think we just pay up. To be honest, I think don't cause a fuss, just pay. I think he's that good. But yeah, I'm really happy to see us interested in Morgan Rogers, and I do definitely think he'd be interested in coming here. But yeah, we have a strong interest. I'm very excited about the possibility of bringing him in. Obviously, Villa do need to sell, so maybe we use that as a bargaining chip. But yeah, I would love Morgan Rogers at this club more than I would like Kudus. So I'll probably do a Morgan Rogers video if the links keep coming on Morgan Rogers. Just because I love the player so much and the way that he's able to carry the ball is top in the league. He's also a very good finisher. He can play that false nine too. But I think if you want flexibility, you have Rogers, you have João Pedro, who can both play that left wing 10. Obviously, we have Gittins. Obviously, we have Delap. Obviously, we have Pedro. But yeah, I love Morgan Rogers as a player, and I think he can play centrally too. If you want to play Cole Palmer outright, but I think Neto's undroppable right now. But yeah, I would absolutely love to bring Morgan Rogers in the door. And we do have a very strong interest in him, so that's great. Moving on to Christopher Nkunku, who might be actually out the door. Speaking on Nkunku, I think he's been good this Club World Cup. I've been pretty pleased with his performances so far. But yeah, I think the door is definitely open for him, but I do think he's definitely, revived his Chelsea career just a tad bit in this Club World Cup, putting in more effort, looks better in his natural position. Looked great yesterday in the game against Fluminense, where we made the final, obviously. Yeah, carried the ball very well, was able to spray out those passes. Should have scored a goal, but Thiago Silva did Thiago Silva things. Could have had two different goals actually, which Thiago Silva cleared off the line. So a little unlucky yesterday to not score, but he did have a good performance nonetheless. But Inter Milan are working on the incoming transfer market, and their idea for the attack is Christopher Nkunku. However, there's other clubs interested. Christopher Nkunku is again a target for Bayern Munich. The German champions first expressed an interest in the French forward in 2024, but have failed to land a succession of targets this summer and are keen once again on bringing Nkunku back to Germany. Chelsea will insist on a permanent deal for the forward, said Simon Johnson, The Athletic, and SebSB. And then Man United have been quoted at $35 million to sign Christopher Nkunku. I would definitely be open to him leaving, but I do think he's revived his Chelsea career a little bit. So I wouldn't be mad at him staying and just seeing out potentially the first 6 months of the next season, seeing what he could do. I wouldn't be mad at that at all with the way he's played in this Club World Cup. I definitely think he's earned a couple of minutes in the Premier League and in the Champions League as well. And I think if Maresca keeps playing in the system that he's been playing, Nkunku could thrive in that, and I think he could score a lot more goals than he did last season and provide a bigger impact than he did. Obviously, started in the last two games, started in a semifinal of the Club World Cup, which is, I think, big news. I think that shows Maresca has a level of trust in him in the system, and he looked good. he looked good. I'm not gonna put that past him. So I wouldn't be mad if he stays. I wouldn't be mad if he goes. But I think the price is gonna be around 40 million pounds, 45. If Nkunku does leave the club, which is a possibility. It is a strong possibility. But I wouldn't be mad if he uh, does stay at Chelsea for the upcoming season. And if it doesn't work after 6 months, selling him in January. But yeah, that's everything on Christopher Nkunku. Moving on to Renato Vega, who is wanted by Bayern Munich, says the Athletic. And Christian Falk said that Bayern may need to pay a fee around 30 million pounds to sign Vega, who they consider as someone with tremendous potential. Chelsea are aware of Bayern's interest, but as of now, there hasn't been any negotiations. I do expect Bayern to come in for Renato Vega. Obviously, he's on their short list of 4 center halves, so yeah, I do expect something to happen there. And yeah, yeah. I do like the player in Vega, but I do think he burnt bridges at the club. I've said this multiple times. He shouldn't have gone out alone in January. He should have just stayed and fought for a spot in the club. And I definitely do think he could fit in that left center back role right now, with Colwell at the center half, and then Cucurella obviously bombing up the pitch. But he burnt the bridges at the club. I'm not mad to see him go. Um, so yeah, that's that on Renato Vega, and I think that's that on everything in this news video. Pretty lengthy. There's a lot to go through, but yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Obviously, there is going to be a lot more news videos with this Madueke saga, with this Petrovic saga. So yeah, more news videos incoming. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, again, please be sure to like and subscribe. And I did make a Discord server, so that will be linked down in the description. If you do want to join, we can talk all things Chelsea, all things NFL if you want, all things YouTube if you want. But yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and as always, it's Repulse, and I'm out. Peace.